Walking down one street, and for no reason at all, you change your mind and walk down another. I mean, your whole life has changed. Now we're getting somewhere. I'm perfectly satisfied with my life. That's why you need it changed.
Check 1 2 1 2. Yeah, thanks for watching. Greatness. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Oh, my homie.
So I've never done this before. How do I see who's live in your chat?
Just go to the link that I sent you
I'm in a link.
and hit hit
So I've never done this before. How do I see who's live in your chat? Oh shoot, I'm on.
Oh, we're live.
I'm in a link. Oh.
What's up, y'all? It's Joncea. I'm excited. I am so excited today. Happy Friday. Thank you to everybody that is already watching, everybody that's already in the chat waiting. This is going to be an amazing show. I'm telling you, I have one. I know I say this. I know I say this every show. But for real, I don't know what it is. It's just the people that I bring on the show. I really be feeling this, but I really do have one of my favorite people here today on the couch. I really do have one of my favorite people on the show. And y'all, I'm telling you, this is going to be a show that you're going to watch over and over again. It's going to be so empowering. It's just so much love. We have so much genuine love for each other, so much genuine friendship that you guys are going to feel it and be a part of it. You're going to relate to it and you're going to grow and we're going to grow together. And it's just going to be a great show. So let me just introduce my guests up in here. Up in here, I have my girl Somalie Inez is in the house. Say what's up. Say what's
Hey
up
y'all,
to the
how
people.
y'all doing? What's up? What's up? Hey, everyone that's online, thank you for coming on and supporting my girl, Joncea. She's beautiful and just wait until you get to know her. You'll understand.
A lot of these people that are watching know me. So they know me already. They're my big time friends, supporters, always online. What's up to everybody that is watching already? I see y'all in the chat. I ain't even gonna hold you. I need glasses. I ain't even gonna hold you. Nick or somebody else gonna have to like really, because I don't have my other phone where I can zoom in. I see Maya's name. My cousin Tia is here. What's up, Tia? I want to say this says Goddess Within 45.
Corey.
Melanie.
That's Corey.
What's up, Corey?
Yeah,
She said,
Melanie.
you know, some of Somali's folks are here. And I'm excited. I am excited. What's up, sis?
Man, first of all, I want to just say I am so proud of you and congratulations for even just getting this platform going. I'm just
Thank
like,
you. Actually, today, this show marks the year.
wow.
We have been doing the Joncea show for a whole year, Nick. You peep that?
So I'm your 1 year anniversary.
You
Holla.
are a 1 year anniversary show. You are. Who greater to have than you on a 1 year anniversary? And I know everybody's like, okay, so like, who is this girl? Like, who is? I mean, what's so special about Somalie Inez? First, before I let you answer that, I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna answer it. Somalie is. Let me talk to the crowd. Somalie is a person that I met here in Los Angeles, but she's from my hometown. So most people from my hometown, y'all, when we meet, we have an automatic. It's like an automatic 67 points. It's an automatic huge bond just because we're from
That
DC,
part.
we understand each other, we understand our culture, we understand our words, we understand our clothes, we understand our food. We automatically just it's not too many people that I meet here that's from home that I just cannot stand. There's a couple of them where I'm like, I don't know, they done changed a little bit, or they ain't really, they probably from 757. It's like, that was a joke from Ryan. But look, you know what I mean to be from 757 VA Park. But I met Somalie here through a friend, through Pierre, one of the guys that was on, I guess, on here years ago.
Years ago. When he first came out.
When I first came out
Mhm.
here, I met you. I'm trying to think, where did we actually meet? Do
You
you
know whose
remember?
house? Yeah.
At P's house, right?
No. Toya's.
Oh, we met at Antoya, so we met through
Yeah.
Antoya, not P.
We met. Pierre kept on trying to introduce us because he kept on
Really?
saying, I want you to meet, I want you to meet this girl, Joncea. She's from back home. You and her are gonna get along real well. I want you to meet, because he was trying to get us together. But we met through Antoya because I was at her house crashing because you and I was going through the same thing at the same
Okay, we're
time,
gonna slow
and then you
down. We're
came
gonna
down.
slow down.
Right.
Okay, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. So we met at Antoya's house.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my question to you from the beginning: who is Somalie?
Somalia is a creative machine, and I, I'm just a connector. I'm divine love. I'm just anything that makes someone feels comfortable. That's me. I meet people exactly where they are. That's who Somali is. I'm DC. I'm East Coast.
Mhm.
Uh, lived in New York, Jamaica, through LA, but I'm always going to be DC. So I was born in DC. That's in my blood. That's where I come from. But experiences throughout the different journeys of where we've lived does definitely come. You end up becoming home
Mhm.
at that place. So
Okay. So if somebody was to be like, let me go look up Somalie, you describing yourself as
a creative machine. Okay. Well, I mean, I've produced. I've now jumping into the directing part of life. I write. I can't stop. Like there's something about me that's always like pushing and got to do more. Like I gotta get. I have a clothing line and cannabis brand, and I'm writing books and feature films and just constantly. I can't. I don't. I feel like I'm never pouring out enough. I have a nonprofit, and I think that Somali is just exactly who I am. I'm real. I'm 103%. I don't fake the funk. There's gonna be
Mhm.
people that love me. There's gonna be people in the gray with me, and there's gonna be people that like, I'm cool with Somali, but she's all right, But so, but it doesn't matter because I am exactly who I am, and I meet people exactly where they need to be.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So question, Somalie, why LA? Why did you move to LA?
God called me out here when I was 9 years old. I felt it. I told my mom and I told some family members I was going to be in LA. I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be living in LA, going to UCLA, and I'm going to be rich and famous. And I said by the time I was 35 years old. So I had that number 35 when I was a little girl in my head. But I did a detour. So I graduated from high school when I was
You
16.
didn't.
Yeah.
Why did you move to LA?
To 3 reasons. One was to get into film and getting into the industry. I grew up in the music industry and transferring over to the entertainment side. Two, for my daughter, for her to reach her dreams and her goals and what she wanted to do. And three, because my son, my youngest son, if you know me, then you know what's going on with my youngest son, where Children's Hospital in D.C. told me that he was no longer, there was nothing else that they could do for him with the...
Slow down.
The brain cancer.
So you moved to...
Yeah.
Slow down. You moved to L.A.
For 3 reasons.
You moved to L.A. to do acting, comedy.
I moved
to that's why I moved to L.A.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So you moved to L.A.
I moved to L.A. because I was going to start a talk show. So that was my original thing. I was going to do a talk show. But my daughter got into the business, so I supported her side of it before me. I wanted her to shine before my kid. Like, I wanted my children to shine before I do.
Okay, so how long ago did you move to L.A.?
I moved to L.A. in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How old was your daughter then?
She was like 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did she started her acting career here?
She started her acting career back home in D.C. So, and then we had gotten her an agent and everybody out here. So we ended up moving out here. So it all just kind of worked out because when we were in the process of moving out here, Children's Hospital told me that they couldn't do anything else for Jordan. And I had some friends that worked for NIH and other doctors that said to me, and friends that said, you're going to California, that's good because they have a good brain cancer organization and units. They have like a good support group for you for brain cancer for Jordan. So I came out here and spent 2 weeks getting Jordan squared away with doctors and all the things.
Okay, so since you sped up a little bit to Jordan.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your kids then.
Okay.
Tell me about them.
Okay. Well, my oldest, he's amazing. He's like me, very neutral. He meets people exactly where they're at. He went to Bowie and he's HBU like all of us, and graduated from Bowie with honors, and then he went to the Peace Corps.
Okay, well,
Okay. So
what's his name?
It's Jamel. I was keeping that like I was like, okay. So
Right.
Jamel's my oldest, and then
Okay.
Jasmine's my second.
Okay.
And she lives in New York right now.
Okay.
And then my third is Jordan, which is my youngest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were talking about Jordan.
Yeah. So
let's talk about Jordan. Tell me a little bit about Jordan and what's going on with your youngest. How old is he?
He's in his 20s, 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
22. Let's talk about Jordan. So tell us about him.
Jordan is he's special. When I say special in a lot of ways, he was forced into this world, and then he had to fight to stay
Forced
in this world.
into this world. What does that mean? Let's start there.
Okay. Well, he's a product of rape.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was forced into this world, and I ended up deciding to keep him. And when I decided to keep him, after he was born, I was like paralyzed for a year, and then started walking again. And then after that, he got sick, so with brain cancer. So then he had to have like multiple brain surgeries.
Oh, wait. Back up. You said you got raped, and then you had your son.
I had him.
So that was a decision that you kind of was going back and forth with, maybe.
Well, it was a decision. Well, it's a long story. So, I was going to this church, and when I was raped, I was already a single mom with 2 kids. I had just gotten divorced, so I was like not having this baby, period. And so the women in my church, I fell into like a hole when I got raped, and I didn't go to church. I stopped going to Bible study, and then when my girlfriend Donna came over one day, and she seen me like all messed up, she's like, you need to go to care group tonight and this and that. And I was like, no, I'm good. So she's like, I'm picking you up.
So this time, did you know you were pregnant?
At that time I found out I was pregnant because I was having pain in my stomach. So I went to the doctors, and he told me that I was actually like 5 weeks pregnant or something. So the following week I had to have an abortion.
Right.
So,
okay.
Right. But it was not true, because when I was writing my script, I had 2 people, which were my researchers and my co-writers.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm about to tell you. I couldn't have it. I couldn't have the abortion.
So
I could have had the abortion, but I didn't, because That's what I'm trying to tell you. Just hear me out. I was told that I couldn't have the abortion after 6 weeks, right?
Okay, let's just stop there.
Yeah.
Let's just stop there.
Right.
Okay, so after you had the after you decided you wasn't gonna have the abortion, you decided you wanted to have Jordan.
Right.
When you had Jordan, you say you were paralyzed?
Yeah.
I didn't know this. So what happened?
So when I was giving birth to Jordan, I almost died. Me and Jordan both almost died. And it's a whole lot of stuff that happened to me, which, like, if you don't even want to hear all that stuff because it's very, but I almost died. And then when I came, when I woke up from
birth.
From giving childbirth, but it was like maybe a few days later, 5 days later, then I got a chance to meet Jordan. But I wasn't able to like walk. I had no like feelings from here on down, and I didn't have a lot of strength in my arms, so I had to learn how to eat again, learn how to like do stuff all over again.
And that was just from pregnancy?
That was from giving birth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, question.
Yeah.
You said Jordan had got brain cancer. Was he born with cancer?
So he might have been born with it because by the time we found the tumor, it was as big as a grapefruit. So they couldn't like do radiation or chemo.
How old was he?
2.
So do you think maybe he was fine until he was 2?
No, because I don't know. It was like
Was it something about him?
For a few months, like I kept calling the doctor, and I kept saying something is wrong with Jordan. He's sleeping with his eyes open, or he's sleeping with his eyes halfway open, and so the doctor, she kept saying, no, Mom, you're just so overprotective with your kids. It's not. I'm like, look, I have two babies,
right?
So like, don't tell me.
And how old were the other 2 babies at the time?
At that time, Jasmine was a baby, so she was like maybe. Jordan was 2. Jasmine was like about 4, going on 4.
Okay.
And Jamel was like maybe 5.5, going on 6. So they were all like in steps.
Okay.
So then Jordan had this thing, which was like this huge seizure. And
at 2.
Yeah. And I called the doctor, and I was like, I called 911, and then I called the doctor. But I got a different doctor, he's amazing. Dr. Weiss, shout out to you. Dr. Weiss, always one love to you.
What
always.
Happened?
I said, Dr. Weiss, I'm taking him to the hospital. Something's wrong with him. The ambulance is on their way. And Dr. Weiss actually came up to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And the hospital originally said that he had scar tissue, and kept him over the night and did a CAT scan and a brain like a MRI. And they sent me home with this medication called Lamictal to give him, and said it was nothing, and sent him home. But then I gave him the medications. He was having these things called partial seizures. So half his body was seizing, and the other half wasn't. Mm-hmm. So shout out to my girl D too, because she was there with me when all this happened. And we ended up taking him back to the hospital, and they said, yeah, it's partial seizures, don't worry. So if you all are a parent, if you all got young kids, listen. I mean, the hospitals are great and everything, but listen to your instincts. I ended up calling Dr. Weiss later, and I said, Dr. Weiss, something is really wrong with Jordan. I don't know what it is. So he referred me to Children's Hospital. Mm-hmm. And we went.
This is all in D.C., right?
All this is in D.C.
Okay.
We went to Children's Hospital, and we seen a neurologist, and the neurologist examined Jordan, and Jordan's healthy, looking good, like everything. He's like why is this kid having these issues? Right. Mm-hmm. So he said, let me go get his scans. So he went personally and picked up his scans. I'll never forget this. He picked up the scan. I seen Dr. On that Monday. He called me on that. He went to pick it up on Tuesday. He called me on that Wednesday and said that Jordan had a brain tumor, that it needed to be removed. I'm like, oh, when does it need to be removed? I'm not thinking this. I'm not processing. Remember, I'm a 20-year-old mom, so I'm like saying to myself, okay, well, when is that supposed to be? In another year or 2? Like he said, no, immediately. You have to come down to Children's Hospital on Friday. I got you set up as an oncologist, brain surgeon, support group, whatever. I'm like, Friday? So it all kind of everything happened so fast. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you find out that Jordan, and he's 2, mm-hmm. has brain cancer. Mm-hmm. What do they say? What do they tell you?
They said that he was not. There was like a very low percentage he was going to live, and if he survived that brain surgery, then he probably had 2 to 5 years.
Wow.
So
Wow. So he survived. So
He
they did surgery and he survived.
yeah, well they did a surgery. But he had a lot of brain parts of his brain removed. Like he had to have his the whole left side was gone because of the tumor was as big as a grapefruit, so it just ate up the whole left side. And then there was like a cyst that got protected between the frontal lobe and another tumor they couldn't get out. And then they removed his like left. So they told me he was not going to recognize me, and they told me he wasn't going to have no right motor skills, no speech, no memory. So
And this was all at the age of 2?
all at the age of 2. That was the first surgery. So they removed his speech, his right motor skills, his left lobe, his left temporal, they scraped into his hippocampus. The hippocampus is like where the seizures was coming from. And they removed his long-term memory. No, short-term memory, excuse me. They removed his short-term memory, so they came out of that. And then, like, Jordan's, like, he's darker. Like, he's, like, darker skin kid. And he, the white bandage they put around you when you have, like, surgery or whatever. So he was as pale as the thing. He had lost a lot of blood. And they were supposed to give him, like,
this is the
a
2,
blood transfusion.
and this is when he was 2. So you said that was his first surgery. How many surgeries did Jordan end up having?
4.
But at the age of 2,
No,
or
he
over
had
the time?
He had 1 at 4. I mean, at 2 years old. He had 2 at 12 and 1 at 14. He had the 2 at 12. He had 1 a week apart.
So because I know, I remember my neighbors had a son who had brain cancer. He passed on, I think, at the age of 9. But I think they had found out when he was like maybe 5 or something. He didn't live long at all once he got it.
Right.
So it's a blessing because the doctors basically said he wasn't going to live.
Right.
So how old was Jordan when you moved here?
Jordan was, let me see, he was going into 5th grade. So he was like maybe 9 or 10 or something like that.
So he was still able to go to school and all of that?
No, it wasn't like that. I had to come out here and get him set up with like regional center and CCS and find a special school to get him because he's special needs and he's considered like mild mental retarded.
So he could still like walk and all of that stuff.
Yeah, so they said
was a
he was not
blessing.
going to walk. He didn't speak and everything. That boy sings. He'll pray. He'll talk to you. I mean, like, so he is. Just imagine having a headache every day of your life. He fights that headache every day. He always wants to like make other people laugh and feel good and everything. But he also has a lot of issues. Like it's not easy for him. Like he tries like every day, but when he's in pain, he shows aggressiveness or anger or behavior issues. And one of his surgeries, they had to remove his frontal lobe. And if you don't know anything about the brain, the frontal lobe is actually the logic part of our brain. So that's where we have the logic. If you see Jordan will see, if he sees someone with a big booty, he doesn't, like, he's not like a real man to be like, oh, that's a nice booty. He's like, oh, she got a big butt, mom, like, or something. Like he's very non-filter. We call him Sophia from the Golden Girls. Just says it like it is.
You just call your son Sophia.
Yeah. Well, like his attitude is like Sophia from the Golden Girls.
So how is Jordan?
Right now?
Yeah.
He's struggling with a lot of health issues. Yeah, he's got the cancer, and when you have cancer, especially in the brain,
Because he still has it. Is it?
oh yeah, he has what you call during the years. So he got the gliomas on the left side. So he's got these little tumors that are growing on the left side, and then he's got a new, and it's malignant, and then he's got a new type of cancer, which was diagnosed when he was 12, which is an astroblastoma, which is in the middle part of his brain. So he's got these 2 things going on in his brain, which like causes a lot of issues. So for him, when you're on a lot of medications, it causes you to have liver issues, kidney issues. He's got thyroid issues. He's got hypertension. He just got diagnosed with diabetes like 2 years ago. He's got heart condition, liver disease. Like he's just got a lot of things, but you would never, you could tell like maybe in his face or a hair loss or something that he might be sick, or you can look at him and be like, oh, he's special needs or something. But Like he's just so like sweet and.
So, as a mother,
Mhm.
how does that make you feel? Like, as a mother, how does it? Let's back up to even this part. How was it having Jordan with all these issues and all that? How did that affect your other two kids and you as a mom with your other two children?
That's a good question. So, my children, they're really compassionate for people. And like Jasmine would always and Jamel and Jasmine would always protect Jordan because people used to always say, "Oh, you're a boy with a half a brain, or you're this and that," and so they would protect him. You know, I know it was hard for them, but my
How
children.
was it for you?
For me, it was. I personally tried to make sure I spent as much time as I could with all my kids, and to make sure that my other two kids were not denied because we were in the hospital a lot. So I made sure I kept them busy, step team, ballet, dance, basketball, whatever whatever it is that I could keep them where they was always doing something. Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, and I tell my kids this all the time. My children, God gave me my two older children first because they made my life easy as a single mom, because God knew he was going to give me Jordan. And originally I was going to give Jordan away to my girlfriend Jackie and her husband. But then her husband said no, because the man that raped me kept on coming back and harassing me. So they didn't want those problems. So me and Jackie talk still, we're still close and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did it affect you as a mother?
Joncea, at that time, I didn't have time to think. I was too busy. I was back and forth in the hospitals. I was too busy, being a mom, too busy trying to, survive, or too busy just doing what I had to do. So I didn't have no downtime to really process those things until I came to California, and then I actually got help with Jordan. He lived longer, and then I got some support.
I'm like, what the heck was that?
Yeah. So so when I came out here and I actually got some support, I was able to exhale a little bit, and then I started writing my story.
So it basically you basically kind of kept it.
Yeah, I was
kept it going.
I was in the matrix.
You didn't let it affect you. You just was like, oh well.
I had to do what I had to do.
We're just gonna just keep it moving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what it did do was.
I saw something dropping.
I think your chair got caught up on the cord.
Nick, go ahead though.
Yeah. No, what I did do was I felt like God put me in a place where I was able to pray for other parents and be there for other parents. So when Jordan was having his brain surgeries, I was in there by myself. The first brain surgery, my friends came down and one of my pastors came down to support. But then, if they were gone, I was there, and then I would see other parents going through process, and I would just get up and then just get on the floor and ask if I could pray for them. So I felt like God was using me as a tool to help give them peace, and that was my peace in a sense.
Yeah.
So I was praying for other people. I'm gonna tell you, Jordan's life story. I know the doctors and everybody say it was me that helped them kind of get closer to God, or let them see a different perspective of things, because I would pray for details regarding when they would do the surgery. They're like, well, Somalie, we don't know if he's going to make it this time. They had to do an emergency wish with Make-A-Wish Foundation, because how big the tumor was, and they didn't know if it was going to be hard or not. So
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How many times did they tell you your son may not make it?
Multiple times. So I was mourning him while he was alive. If you really want to know the truth, I was literally mourning my son while he was alive.
Wow.
Yeah, and I used to put a
And
helmet.
that was at what age?
From the time he was 2. I think I finally woke up from the mourning part, maybe after he survived, the 3rd surgery. I was
And that was at what age?
12.
Okay.
I finally was
you finally had to kind of be at peace
I had that,
if something happened.
I had that, you know what? You all keep telling me something, so I had scientists and doctors calling me all the time asking, can we get a piece of his brain when he passes? But I'm like, my son is still here. But I would give them permission.
Wow, they would ask.
Yeah.
This fell. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
They would ask.
Yeah, they'd call me all the time, and I would, but I would give them permission to get a piece of his brain, a slide. Like they had brains at like sections of his brains at the hospital. So I'm like, he's still here. What are you talking about? So, but
And he's 22 now.
yeah,
So that means that basically no one has the final say but God.
right, exact period. Yeah,
No one has the final
Yeah.
say but God.
hmm
And his life expectancy was what?
2 to 5.
To 5.
I mean, 2 to 5 years old. Like he was 2
Right.
years old. They didn't think he was going to survive past 5, and they didn't think he was going to walk, talk, none of that.
So how is Jordan now?
Jordan walks and he talks. Again, his health issues is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
but I pray for him, and like I've surrendered him. Jordan is the type of person, like I have a recording, like, because sometimes when we're on the phone and he'll talk to me, he's like, Mom, when I die, I want to come down and be like Jesus and heal people and take care of people. And
That's so sweet.
or he'll say, Mommy, when I die, will you follow me anywhere I go? I'm like, of course I will. He said, even if I go to heaven, I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, God, give me all the mac and cheese I want. I was like, of course. He said, then he'll say, even if I'm fat, I'm like, yeah, honey, it's heaven. You can have anything. And then he was like, well, how do you know God will let you in? And I'm like, Jordan, because I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to, I'm going to do everything I can to please God.
Like, I'm going to try to get in,
Yeah,
Jordan. Just
right.
relax, though. You in. You like in.
Right.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
And you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
Okay.
But I really am intrigued to know, have you ever thought about how life would be if Jordan was to pass away?
Yeah, I've thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for me, at one point, see, I believe a lot of different things. I believe that we can choose to come back into another body and to live in another, live another life. I believe that if you want to go to heaven, you can go to heaven. Whatever you want to believe, whatever it is that you want to do. And I taught Jordan that too, because I'm like, he believes in Jesus and all that.
Have you ever thought about how life would be if Jordan died? How you would be?
I've thought about it, and what I'm trying to say is, like, for me, I don't know how my emotions will be when that happens.
Yeah.
I'm mentally prepared. Like,
Yeah.
all the doctors and hospice and everybody, when they come up to me, they're like, we want to make sure, like, they introduce themselves to me. And they want to
Is
make
he
sure.
in hospice?
No, but
He was, and they probably moved him.
No, he was never in hospice.
Oh,
But
okay.
his oncologist introduced me to hospice because they were expecting him
thought
to
him
go
to
to
pass away.
hospice. Yeah,
Oh.
so they're like, oh yeah, we do special, like, teddy bears for the parents when the child, they were just, when a child
So that
passes
mentally,
away.
like, because not often, I'm not going to say often, but it's just certain people in my life that I think about, like, how my life would be if, like, I couldn't imagine how my life would be, but to know that you have a kid, not saying that anybody's kid can't just go at any time,
Right.
that's the thing, but to know that you have a kid that doctors constantly say they may be sick, may not be sick, could make it today, like, I just was wondering, like, have you ever, like, thought about I just want to know if you ever, like,
I think about it all the time, but
yeah.
I don't.
You're trying to live in
don't-
that space.
Well, I don't live in that. I don't put myself there anymore. Like,
Yeah.
because I was already there. I was mourning him while he was alive.
Right,
So
right.
at that point, like, I've just really surrendered
Just
him.
say forget it. Yeah.
I surrendered him, and I'm just letting God handle it. I'm letting God steer the wheel.
And it became much, much easier once you
It's become
let
freedom.
go. Yeah, once you let go.
Yeah, because me constantly saying, oh, if he's gonna die, like, I couldn't do that. Like, it was doing too much for me at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, I was like picking up weight. It was like just a lot happening, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like all these storms hitting at one time, and being a single mom, and running a business, and
having two other babies.
yeah, and just
To
everything.
make
So
sure that they're okay
they were good.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, I just want you to know, Jordan, of course, has always been in my prayers, and whoever's watching, keep Jordan in your prayers. He's a very strong person, and
yeah, and if you're gonna pray, I say pray for him to have peace and no pain.
yeah,
Because, like, I don't want him to suffer in pain. I rather, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I rather him, if he's going to go, I don't want him to be in pain, suffering, doing that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people die with brain cancer, and it's a lot, so if he was to go, I want him to go peacefully and go with no pain, like without the suffering.
Or we could just not pray for him to go. We could just pray for him.
Right, that too. But I'm
to
just saying,
be at peace.
Right, but that's what I want, like for him to be at peace. But I don't want him to be in pain. But reality, Joncea, reality. If you've been living this like for 20 some years, reality. You've seen all the pain that your son's gone through with having his head. So basically, they take a saw and they scald. They scald that off. Yeah.
No, I was just telling my people to pray for Jordan.
Yeah.
We didn't want to.
Right. No, but I'm saying, pray, but pray for peace and no pain.
Okay.
So that's my prayer for him.
Okay.
And because at the end of the day, he's really in God's hands.
Turn it up.
I was listening to your story. I have a question though.
Yeah.
I'm always pro-life, and I talk to a lot of women about this, and I always hear women justify abortion via rape, right? So I'm just curious to know, like, what was your process deciding to keep your child?
That's what I was trying to explain to Joncea. So when I was going to get the abortion, they told me I had an appointment to get the abortion on a Wednesday, okay, and they called me on that Monday and told me that the doctor wasn't going to be in on Wednesday. So when he did that, I said, okay, I'll come in on Thursday. And they said he's not going to come in on Thursday. And then I said, okay, well, I'll come in Friday. And they said he ain't going to come in on Friday. So at that time, again, I was a young girl, didn't know too much at that point because I've never had abortion or anything like that before or whatever. So I said, I'll come in next week. And they cut me off and said, you can't come next week because you're going to be 6 weeks pregnant. Now, at that time, I thought that was true. But moving fast forward, the two people, Hannah and Savannah and Hamid, when they were helping me write when they were my co-writers and they were doing the research for my story, because I wanted to make sure anyone that was a part of like my script and my book, that I had people behind it. When they did the research and they found out that you can actually get an abortion in the D.C., Maryland area, like up to 28 or 20-something weeks. So we found out that clinic that called me was actually a pop-up clinic. So like there's people that create these pop-up clinics that are pro-life no matter what. And at that time, they were like, I don't know who was involved, but I got mad at the women in my church and I sent them a group message and I was like, it's y'all's fault. This is why my life is like this. And, in a sense that why like Jordan is sick. So if Jordan wasn't here, he would not be sick. But I was like very young with not a lot of knowledge because I had too much going on around me. So it was the pop-up clinic that actually stopped it. And then I was going to give the baby up to someone from my church. But then God stopped that. And I told Jackie, after I ended up keeping the baby, I was like, well, because the guy that raped me, he kept on coming and just doing all types of stuff. And so her husband was like, nah, we're not going through all this. So they didn't take the baby, and I was stuck with the baby. So I told her, I said, the reason why God ended up making me keep Jordan, because God knew I was going to find out that he was sick and keep him living longer. So, but Jackie's like, they call her Aunt Jackie and stuff like that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was I about to say? So basically, the you didn't want to stop the abortion.
I would have done it, but
the people.
Yeah, right. But if I would have went there,
so basically, your question was what made you not do it, and her answer basically is.
So I was just curious because most of the time I hear women talk about abortion, usually the number one thing is
rape.
What about rape? That's usually the.
Yeah.
That's why I was just curious. So
I probably would have gone there, but when the process would have happened, I don't know if I would have did it. You know what I'm saying? Because I've never experienced it. I never got to that point to know if I would have walked out or not.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you keep talking about this guy.
Yes.
That raped you.
Yeah. I prefer not to give him any energy, to be honest with you.
I mean, you keep talking about him, so
No, I was
don't
explaining, right. Yeah.
I was just saying, you keep talking about him, so I was going to ask you about him, but if you don't want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so question. You and I met at Toya's house.
Right.
A girl who lived here in L.A. Because, I don't know about you, but at that time, I was big time couch surfing.
I was actually, when I met Antoya, I met her at an event that Pierre had given, and he had been telling Antonia a lot about me. And so she walked up to me at the event. She's like, "Oh my God, you're Somali. I've been wanting to meet you." So I was actually, at that time, I had come into a situation where someone had owed me a lot of money and put me in a situation where I ended up in my car. And so when I met Antoya that night, I was actually living in my car, but she invited me over to her house, and we ended up having like a long conversation. She's like, "Oh, you can spend a night." So I ended up spending a night. She didn't know I was in my car yet, but it was so late, and she didn't want me to leave like at 2:00 in the morning, whatever. She's like, "You can spend a night." So I ended up spending a night, and then the next day we had the conversation because she was like, "Where do you live?" and stuff. I was like, "Girl, you don't even want to know," and stuff. So at that point, she said, "If you want to crash here for a couple nights, you can." So I was at that point, like how you were couch surfing. I would basically in my car.
I'm trying to figure out how I ended up.
You needed to stay there.
I ended up in Antoya's house. I'm thinking. I don't remember. I was couch surfing.
Yeah, you was on one couch. Too. I was on the other.
Yeah, so that's how we ended up. We both were homeless at the time, and we stayed over a girl named Antoya's house
for a couple. It was for a couple days here and there.
I stayed a couple. I think I stayed with her a couple months.
Oh, a couple. Yeah, you did because I left.
You ended up leaving, and I ended up staying,
yeah.
and I had to leave because she had like 2 boys at the time, and she would just literally wake up and be gone.
Leave the house at 2:30 in the morning.
She would be gone. It would be the daytime. I would wake up and there's 2 kids there. And she's like gone. And I would be like, "Yo, you just assumed I had nothing to do with my life and all this and all that." But we ended up becoming really cool through the homelessness, and we both lived in our cars.
Yeah. And then it was so funny. I remember you was in one car, you was in your car, I was in my car, and we parked like face to face. And you were sleeping in your car, in the backseat of your car, I was sleeping in the backseat, and we'd be on the phone talking to each other. And we would find
we would find like different streets to sleep on. And it's so funny because the whole point of the Joncea show is just to basically tell people stories about how they moved to LA and the things they go through and this and that. And people don't know, like, we really have situations where we all of us have the same story, but a different story, but the same story. If you could grasp that. And Somalie and I truly lived in our cars. And we did everything to survive.
Yeah. Everything that's with integrity.
By this time, though, everybody, Somalie's kids, Jordan is at a facility.
No, he's in a group home.
Well, that's a facility. And her other 2 kids are now gone, by the way. So she's not out here, sleeping in her car with her 2 kids and stuff like that. Yeah. They're older by this time. This was only not a couple years ago. This is around about 2013. Yeah, it was about maybe 2014. Because 2013, I was still good living in my apartment, and then all of a sudden, boom.
For me, I will never forget November 1st, 2013. Because you know what?
That's when you first became homeless?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what happened. I kept on having dreams. God kept telling me that I was going to be homeless. I was like, "What are you talking about, God? I got my own business. I'm doing good. I'm so-and-so and living in Long Beach on the beach. Like my apartment was here. The beach was here. And he kept saying, "You're going to be homeless. Prepare, you're going to be homeless." And you remember Dania?
I do.
I told Dania that God told me I was going to be homeless. And I don't know why, because I'm good, right? And she kept on saying, "No, you're going to be fine." I'm like, "Yeah," but he keeps telling me I need to pack and get ready. So after I did that show in Hawaii and ended up not getting paid, then when I came back, I had to use my security deposit for my last month. And I was like, "Oh, I guess I am going to be homeless." So Dania and I had Dania and this other 2 girls that came over, and they helped me pack. And I put everything in a truck, and I put it in storage. And the only thing I kept was the stuff I was going to take with me in my car. So he had already told me I was going to be homeless, but he also told me that there was a time when I was like, "God, I don't understand. This is when you got your place, and you said I could come stay, whatever." And I was
When was this?
When you got your one place, and when all your girls were staying there, all those girls were staying there.
Oh, that was 2015.
Yeah, so I was in my car and I was crying out and I said, God, I don't understand.
So you were homeless from 2013
13
to
to 2018.
Wow.
4 years and 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And by the way, y'all, homeless in LA, the word homeless is not like we're on the street and we can't walk. Well, it is time.
We take care of ourselves. Like I got a
We're
YMCA,
homeless.
right?
We're homeless as far as having a home, but we're not homeless in the mind.
Right.
That's two different things. So when you're homeless in the mind, it's a way of life. It's just something that you go through in LA that people don't realize, and I almost believe if you haven't went through this, you're probably not even on the right path. And I know that sounds whack, but trust me, if you haven't went through the homeless stage in LA, I don't know if you're close. So
Yeah, right. Well,
it's funny because I think I couch surfed for about a year. Maybe.
Yeah, you was in it. Like the thing is, you were real blessed. Like you were, and I was blessed too. Let me tell you. But yeah, I remember you kept going in and out. And then when you had gotten your place, and all these people, and I was in my car and I prayed. I'm telling you, Joncea, when I tell you this prayer, I literally was crying. I was bleeding from my heart, and I was in the backseat of my car, and I was like bleeding from my heart, and I was like, God, I don't understand. Like everybody has places, everybody's got people, they got support. I don't understand. Like why is my struggle the longest? You told me that I was going to be okay, right? And I said, but why? And I said to him, if I'm going to be okay, like if I'm going to be okay, then why is my struggle the longest? I heard him speak to me. He said, Somalie, be still.
Yeah.
Your struggle is the longest because your overflow is the largest. And at that time, it was 22 months I was in my car. At that time, I felt this abundance of peace over me. And I just laid down in my car. I didn't wake up to use the bathroom. I didn't wake up to see if anyone was peeping into my, because usually sometimes like someone will be peeping in my window. Like
I remember you had the window shades. You was like, you better get you some window shades for your car. And I'm like, girl, I don't give a
yeah,
look.
because
I don't even want to be in my car.
there'd be people like peeping in your windows and stuff.
My mom had told me one time, shout out to you, Mom, I know you're watching. I remember I called my mom and I was just like, you don't understand.
Excuse me.
I wash up in Ralph's grocery store, Mom. Like, I go to Ralph's for samples.
That's what I was doing. Well, after 2 years,
Girl,
I was eating
for samples. I mean, literally, Costco's for samples in order to eat. And my mom used to just be like, you need to
Come
be
home,
grateful
right.
that there is a Ralph's you could wash up in, the grocery stores you could wash up in, all that. And I remember a time you called me and you were like, sis, you good? Where you at? I'm at the Y. Do you remember that? You could come up here and wash and
Take a shower.
and take a shower and
Come
all
up
that.
here and do that with me.
I can let you in, with my visitors pass. Like, that's how real that season of our lives were.
Did you eat today? Like literally,
Like, we
would.
literally would. I swear, it would be times where, and I don't know if it was with you, but with people, period, that at Jack in the Box, they got like these two nasty ass tacos. At the time, they were $1. Now they're $1.49 for two of them nasty ass tacos. But they were two for $1. And I remember some of the comics we would get together, literally, and we would buy 2 tacos in order to eat and break them suckers in half. Like 4 of us are eating off of 2 tacos.
Girl, I was sucking on ketchup packages and crackers. I'd go through the drive-through at Chick-fil-A and ask them for crackers.
I remember when you used to be like, I was like, girl, where you going? I'm going to get some water. Like from Starbucks. She was
get
in
that Starbucks
Starbucks
water.
getting their water like a mug through the drive-through.
Yeah.
You want a water? And I would just be like, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I just go, my God.
Yeah,
that
it would be
season.
water, crackers, and sucking on ketchup packages. I gained so much weight. I almost got like so sick because of the
Nah,
ketchup.
yo,
All
we ate,
that.
though. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
It's scriptures in that Bible
Right.
that talks about it.
But
what
go
I
ahead.
learned through those seasons, seriously, though.
Yeah.
It's a scripture in the Bible that talks about God make sure you have shelter, food, and clothes.
And we was good. Like that.
But I used to think about the times that I felt like I didn't have shelter, food, or clothes. It was like God is just like, make sure I'm with you.
Yeah.
Because if you doubt, God is not going to be there with you.
Right.
And it was just seasons of doubt. It was seasons of unsureness. It was just seasons of, like you said, not being still, controlling things ourselves and these things. And I believe that the more and more I stayed, because I remember Chris Rock was like, no matter what you go through, you got to stay. My car got repoed.
Right.
So there
Mine
was my
too.
house.
Right. There was my house too.
There was our house. Because the car,
Yeah.
my gym memberships, I couldn't afford them anymore and anything. But I do remember when things began to turn around, it was just because I just stopped. I stood still. I began to learn who God is. I began to trust him. I began to understand him and different things like that. And things begin to open. And I remember having those conversations with somebody like, you got to chill. You have to trust God. This person owes
but I
me,
never lost my...
and that
yeah.
person owes me. And I don't think any of us lost our trust in God. Like,
yeah.
I don't think, or should I say, I don't think any of us did not know God.
No. So for me, I felt, and this is how I felt, and not to interrupt you, but I just wanted to get something like out there real quick. For me, when I was going through that process, for some reason, I felt like I was in a really quiet space. I wasn't like I found me a place to stay at the hospital down the street, right?
From
Providence
Jordan.
Hospital.
Because
No,
that was a good.
the parking garage.
But I'm saying that was a good thing too, though, because you ain't had to really worry about nothing, and you had a car that you can go see your son and stuff like that.
Yeah, but not that hospital. It was because I didn't have gas all the time to always go back and forth. So when I got out there, I stayed out there. But when I stayed out this way, like I was staying at the hospital, like I don't want to name the hospital because I don't want to, just in case other people are trying to stay out there. But there was a garage I stayed at a hospital, and that's where I was sleeping on the rooftop, and this security guard came at me, and he was like, you got someone in there? I was like, no. And he was like, do you know someone to work here? I was like, yeah. And he said, what's her name? I said, Jackie. And then he started rating. I said, excuse me, sir, I got to tell you the truth. I said, I have to be very transparent. I said, listen, I'm living in my car. I need somewhere safe and to stay. Is it okay if I just stay here? He said, no. He said, do me a favor, go down and park on the third floor and somewhere, and for any nights that I'm here, I'm gonna make sure I look out for you. So he looked out for me for 2 years almost like a year and a half till he had to leave, and then I had to leave because the new security people was like messing with me. But the police came, they tried to give me a ticket for $400 and some because I posted at the Burbank Mall. I was just trying to sleep, and so they won't let you park in the malls or stuff like private places.
Yeah, I actually, somebody had hit me, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, but somebody had hit me that you could go and sleep in the graveyards.
Yeah, I heard Walmart
if you go
too.
sleep in the graveyards, they don't bother you, because if somebody comes up to you, you just tell them someone passed away,
right?
And you whatever, and they don't bother you.
I know that.
It was super. Everybody was like, that was so spooky, that's scary. That is the most peaceful place, because everybody's dead.
That would not be me.
I
would not be there.
The dead people are not the people you have to worry about. It's these motherfuckers walking.
Right.
Those other
that
people.
part too, but you never know. They could be walking. But no, I actually was able to to write 20 children's books while I was living in my car. And I was also able to get an LLC in 2014. I ended up getting my production company, my LLC. So peep this, okay? While I was living in my car, I made it to the Chinese theater with 2 of my projects. I shot my projects with no budget, and shout out to everyone that was part of those projects. And I got an LLC. I was doing stuff. I wasn't just sitting there like,
No, people didn't even. I worked at All Def Digital. They didn't even know I was in my car.
Right, and that's
they didn't even know. Not one person had any idea the places that we worked that we were in our cars.
Right, we were doing our thing because we.
But that's what LA is all about. That's what it's all about. But
no, that's what DC is about. That's what we see. We're strong, and you know what I'm saying when I say that's what DC is about. DC built us in that way. We're gonna stay persistent. We came out because people would say, well, just come out here. We'll give you a house and a car. No. I'm gonna stay out. They're like, you rather live out there in your car?
If somebody said, stay out here, come out here, give me a house and car,
they're just gonna hold me back.
I would have. No, fuck that. I would have.
No. Because
nobody did that.
You have to remember.
That's all that is. If somebody does it now, I would do it.
Joncea, but you have to remember, I had to pack a special needs child and start all over. Back, I would have to take Jordan.
I remember.
And get all these. I would have to, if I was to go back home, which is a lot.
No, we're not going back home. I was just talking about being from home.
Right.
I understand what you're saying. We have a little bit of hustle. A natural born.
A lot of hustle.
Natural born hustle that a lot of people out here kind of maybe can't relate to as much as we can.
Yeah.
But
Oh, we're gonna do it.
yeah,
That's the thing.
ain't no turning
that part
back.
right there.
Ain't
right.
no turning back.
That's what I was saying. I was not going back
so
home.
a question,
Right.
Where are you now? Like, tell me your story now. Like, how far have you come? What helped you out of homelessness?
I think that homelessness, even though it was hard, and I was really grateful because I did have some people in my life that like let me stay in their house in Malibu or in the Palisades or different, like I stayed here and there every once in a while. And I also was able to travel the world because my girlfriend actually worked for Americans. So she put me on as her next person. So I was able to fly first class traveling, and I had hookups at every state I went to and every country I was going to. So it was a wild experience being homeless, but I also experienced it in a lot of different ways. But when I was in my car, it was cold. I got sick. I was hospitalized 3 times.
What helped you out of homelessness?
God. But not only that, I
like, where are you now?
Okay, where I'm at now, right?
Yeah, let's talk about where you are now.
Where I'm now
and,
is I'm really in a really great place. I was always in a great place mentally, spiritually. No, I'm going to say mentally and spiritually I was in a great place. When I was homeless, emotionally it was a little heavy.
Yeah.
Today, I'm all aligned. I feel like everything is aligned with me. The emotions, the mental, the spiritual. I've always been like very spiritual anyways. I have been able to, I got a place to live,
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in Laguna Beach.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. So I went from homeless to Laguna Beach.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I mean, I was trying to find a place out here. God kept saying, go find a place to live. And I was like, I don't have the money.
Whoa, stop right there.
Yeah.
Stop right there.
Yeah, no, we've had this conversation.
That's giving me Isaiah 55.
Yeah.
Where
I know,
God
we
is
talked
like,
about that. Right, but that
God
was
is
back
like,
then.
you don't
Right.
even need money.
Right.
Like, don't need money. Like God is literally
Right.
saying in Isaiah 55, like, stop buying yourself
Right.
candy and cheap stuff.
Right.
Like, don't do that.
Just
like,
get that right.
Like, don't hold on tight to $100
Right.
because you don't
Right.
have this or don't have that. God is like, go do what I said.
Exactly.
Do.
So I did it. That's what I'm trying to say.
I know,
Yeah.
but I'm just talking for the people. This is a
Right.
talk show. So I'm literally like, God is just like, go do what I asked you to do. You stepped out on faith.
I did.
You went ahead and got
Yes.
your place.
Yes.
So
I ended up, I was looking out here in LA, but it was it was like going to cost me like $5,400 to get started. Like 54, like, so I started looking in Encino, the Valley, I was trying to stay close here, close to home, because this is where we work. This is when you're in the entertainment business and you're going on set all the time. This is where
because
the
people that
sets
are watching have no idea that from this area that we're at right now, which is closer to Hollywood, closer to LA,
Right.
Laguna Beach is how far?
Without traffic, about an hour and 5 or 10 minutes. But with traffic, you might get like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I prayed and I was like, I was trying to find someone here near the studios so that way I wouldn't have to drive and waste gas coming back and forth all the time. So I was looking for something in Hollywood, North Hollywood, Encino. I even went to Malibu, like just different areas to stay on this side of town. God kept bringing me closer up towards like more south.
Yeah.
So he brought me, I was like, okay, so I went to Huntington Beach. I went to Newport Beach. I went to Irvine. He kept on pulling me up and I was like, God, if this is where I'm meant to be, then don't let it be no traffic going up and no traffic coming back.
Right.
And they had like a $200 security, $199 security deposit special where I live. You've been to my house.
So nice. It's on the beach. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm grateful. And so he pulled me all the way up there. And I don't even know how I got that place, how I found that place, but it all just happened. And I said, okay, God, I went back home and I said, if there's no traffic coming back up, then I'll go ahead and, apply. At this point, my credit was shot. It was like a whole lot of stuff that was going on. Anyways, I was able to get into that place and God is just really constant.
How long have you been there?
I got my first place in July of 2018. Because I was, like I told you, I was in my car from 2013 to 2018.
So 5 years you were in your car. And I'm looking at the chat. Some people were saying, where were your kids when you were in the car? Her kids
Okay.
were older by then, guys.
So yeah, my two kids. My oldest son was in college, and my daughter was living back home with my sisters.
Yeah.
So she went, and then my
And
youngest
they were
son
much
was
older
living.
too,
Yeah,
y'all. They were.
Yeah.
You got to think by this time. These are all. She moved here in 2008, and Jordan was already 10, right? So.
But Jordan went into a group home
Right, but what I'm
before,
saying is, so the
yeah.
other kids were older, guys. The
Yeah.
other kids were like 14 and 15 and 16. They were getting older, so by 2013, they were all.
Jamel was already
older.
when we moved out here. Jamel was his first year in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and
So he
Jasmine
was
was in
kinda
high school,
already-
first year in high school.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
So,
they were already
yeah.
on their way. So by 2013, when she became homeless, it was a
Yeah, and just so you know, my kids did not even know I was homeless. Jordan
Wow.
peeped me out though, because he saw all my stuff in the trunk when I would go visit him. He's like, "What's up with you, Ma? You got all that stuff in your car? You homeless or something?"
the baby. Like no.
My special needs one, right? And I was like, "No,
Yeah.
baby, I'm good. I was just doing laundry." And I was doing Uber, and I would have all that stuff in the back, and it was nice and neat. And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm doing laundry. Sorry, guys," or whatever. I would keep my car because we didn't have the cover in my car, my truck to cover the stuff up.
So tell me this, Somalie.
Yeah.
Tell me, what's your favorite moment in life?
My favorite moment in life. I love quietness and I love being by the water. The water activates me. It's just something about being still and just having conversations with God,
Okay.
meditating.
Okay. So do you have like a moment in your life where it'll never like not be a great moment? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's a moment in your life, like a story or a time in your life that was just one of the greatest?
I have a lot of those, but I don't think I've gotten to the greatest yet. I feel like because I'm such a hard. I'm
You do
hard on
not know
myself.
how to answer questions.
I'm not. I
Like,
don't.
look,
I'm
you
like
just
hard
be
on
like,
myself.
listen to
Right.
what I asked you. What is a moment in your life that was a good moment? One moment in your life.
I can't just pick. That's what I'm saying. I'm really blessed, Joncea. So when
So
you're
your
really,
entire life.
oh, like my entire no, there was times in my when I was younger, there was like a lot of times that I was not in a great space, but throughout all of my life, God carried me. So like I don't for me,
You can't answer that question.
I really because I'm trying to tell you like there's a lot of moments that I've had that was really great.
Okay.
And for me,
So you don't have just one.
no, but what I'm trying to say is I don't feel like I've reached the ultimate.
I didn't ask for the ultimate.
Right.
I just said what was a moment in your life that
I
was
don't know.
good.
I have to think about that.
Oh, okay.
I have to think about that. I think, I guess the first time, when we did tracks, when I did tracks with Pierre, seeing my name on the big screens, that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
That's exciting.
Yeah, and then seeing my name again on the big screens, and then again on the
So
big
speaking
screens.
of big
yeah.
screen,
Yeah.
I recall sitting in a room with you, much like this, where we had tables and all this stuff, and we did casting.
Oh yeah, you came help me cast.
I came and helped you
Yeah,
cast
yes,
for a movie
you always come through. Yes.
that you did, you created.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the movie?
We could talk about the film.
All right, so let's talk about Maya.
Okay, and Maya's gonna be the name of the movie is gonna be changed, so it's not gonna be Maya anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've right now I've changed it to Broken Songs, but I'll probably change it again because now I've written a book series. That's
Okay, let's talk about Maya.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Good, you. Tell me about it.
Maya is basically based on a true story of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and it starts at the young age of 9 years old, and it talks about the journeys of my ups and downs through my life. Whether it was molestations or whatever it was, like when men would inflict pain to my body for their pleasures or great moments. And
You got to tell us about the movie Maya. You're dancing around it.
well, it's Heartbeat.
If we want to go see this movie, what are we going to go see?
you're gonna see.
Like, tell me about the movie, seriously.
Okay, you're gonna see my life in a lot of ways. You're gonna see. I feel like what's gonna happen is when people see the movie, people that have been struggling with health issues or something, they're gonna walk out of the movie with faith. I think that if there's married couples that are having issues, they're gonna walk out with understanding. I think if a man watches it, they're gonna learn how to treat a woman better. I feel
What's
that
the movie about?
it's empowering for women as well.
You haven't told me what the movie's about.
It's about me and my life, my life.
So tell me
journeys.
about it.
Well, like I said, I've been like throughout my life journeys, I've had situations that happened to me as a young girl from the time like 4 or 5 years old. Things that happened. I don't
What
want to give you
happened?
details because then it's too much to give out for the movie and the book.
Why?
So because I can't give out too much details, I can talk about like there
Let's
has
not
been.
just talk about it then.
Yeah.
'Cause you
No,
don't
we
wanna
can
talk
talk.
about
I
it.
mean, I'm giving you, but I
You
can't
don't want
give
to
you
talk
like
about it.
breakdown
You're not
details.
talking about it. You're
I
just
can-
dancing
No.
around it. If you don't want to tell us, then
I can tell certain parts. I can't go and say this and this.
like
and that.
when
Like,
somebody
all the
says,
stuff
"Yo,
you know.
go watch Come to America," it's
Right.
it's a story about a dude
Yeah,
that
it's
moved into
right.
you know America and
Right.
he started messing with his bride and you ain't talking about that.
okay,
You just saying
I'm
it's a
trying.
story about my life.
Well, my
Nigga,
life.
who are you? What's your life? Like,
that's what I'm saying. My life,
like why should I watch this movie?
because it's going to really change lives. It's going to be empowering for
Are
women.
you telling me what it's going to do, right?
And
Tell me about
Okay.
Maya, the movie,
so
or
if,
we're
if
not going to
women
talk about
if
it.
women have been violated in any way, it's going to really help awaken.
You have not told us what this movie about.
It's about my life. It's about my life journeys. It's
Okay.
my life.
Okay.
I mean,
So what's your plans? What's your future plans?
Getting regarding my film, I'm probably
Not
gonna,
your film.
Okay.
We ain't talking about that no more.
Okay.
We ain't talking
Future
about
plans.
What are your plans? Yeah. Like,
Okay.
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. Oh, traveling the world, making residual income, creating more films and pilots and animations, and still probably having my own show one day, and just being free from slavery. And I say slavery, I'm saying not being caught up in what society calls me to do. And I mean, I'm always going to be a good citizen and follow, like, be like a person with integrity and dignity. But I'm talking about like creating my own lane and just meeting people exactly where they are and then inviting people in my lane.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, let me see.
And one more thing, also, I want to, like, I told you I started dipping into directing more. So that's something I've been, like, really getting into a little bit more, learning to just being in that space. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have on a shirt that says 103 Street
Yes.
that you blessed me with this morning. Talk about this. What is this?
103 Street is a journey that you take to get to your destination with being 103% real. So when you are 103% organically you and just being genuine, I promise you get so much further than faking the funk or being an opportunist or trying to take advantage of something that you don't need to do. It just allow it to be organic. And if you're the organic you and you're 103% at all times, God will then open everything so wide for you, and you won't even imagine how the water flows. Like, it's unlimited. Just like when you look at the ocean, like everything is so endless. Mm-hmm. Everything that God gives you. So everything to me, 103 Street is just so. It took me a minute to find the right concept for 103 Street, but it makes sense to me because, like, I'm 103% real, and the journeys that I've taken, on 103 Street, being 103% real. I've had opportunities where men would offer me like $5,000 to come live with them if I slept with them. And I didn't do that. Like, I didn't give up my soul. Like, and another man was like, I'll give you a place to live and this and this and that. And I'm like, if you gave me a place to live and I have to have sex with you, then I'm a slave to you. I don't want to do that. If you really cared about me having a place to sleep, then just let me do that. And if God brings that relationship together, then that will happen. But don't force it. So I'd rather sleep in my car. And so a lot of times I had to go back into my car. And because of the fact that I was always going to be 103 to myself and 103 to everyone else.
So you heard that, guys. 103%. Not 100. 103. Yeah. 103 Street. So this is Somali's brand, and also you told me, even though I accidentally left it, that Somalie just came out with her own strand.
Yeah,
right?
Cannabis brand. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that before.
Okay. Yes.
We close.
So my cannabis. So when my son got real sick, I mean, like he's been sick, but when I came to California, a lot of people were focused on so the doctors were focused on like medicating my son and just getting him comfortable. I was told by some other people, give him some cannabis, give him some edibles or weed. Huh? Okay, so okay. My bad. Give him some cannabis, give him some weed or whatever to make him comfortable. And I was like, at one time back home in DC, I always thought like weed was part of like Love Boat and crack. Like I always had that mentality of the drugs situation, right? So, but then I ended up learning more. I was praying about it. I struggled. I was calling people saying, should I give him this or not? And so I ended up joining the Black Women Cannabis Alliance group, and I learned a lot more about cannabis and how it could help him on a medicinal way. So I started getting involved from 2013 while I was homeless, learning about the cannabis industry and getting more deeper into it to where I was able to like connect with the right people to get my brand started. Mm-hmm. So I just launched my brand, and it's called Dragonfly Limited. And it's not just about getting you high. It's beyond that. It's about, being able to get into another higher awakening and into a understanding.
It's just weed, right?
But see, but weed you can take
get you into a higher.
But awakening. Weed does that. Like you can get into a more conscious awakening when a lot of people smoke, like a lot of artists when they smoke weed or when they've taken edibles, our creativity comes out more, mm-hmm. or you can become more awakening or more alert, or you'll connect to your third eye, whatever it may be, right? So what I'm trying to say is I'm not just going out here and just saying I got this brand because it's just weed. It's beyond just weed. It's about medicinal, like people that are sick, if they take, because my brand is like, it's totally ethically cultivated. I didn't want any chemicals whatsoever, because when you're eating a product that has GMO or chemicals, it's not good for you, right? So it's the same thing when you're smoking weed. If you're smoking something that has chemicals in it, you're putting the chemicals right back in your body, and it's not healing. It's not a healing power. So for me, my brand Dragonfly, it's more and beyond than just weed. So to me, like everything I do, I move like a chessboard. It's got to be strategic. I don't just create something and just create it just to have it. It has to have a meaning behind it. So but yeah, you did leave it home, but you can always go order it because I just launched in the LA area.
She just launched her weed brand, guys. It's called. Write it down so I can put it in the chat.
Dragonfly Limited.
Here, I'm talking about write it down where they can get it.
Okay.
Right fast, y'all. It's her weed brand. Miss Janice did try her weed yesterday.
Yes.
And she, I don't know what the hell that weed did, but Miss Janice washed 4 loads of clothes, cleaned the house up. I was like, what are you doing?
That was the sativa she took.
She took the sativa, which I don't smoke. But I think I want to so I can clean. I want to clean to that level. I don't know. It smelled really, really good, and I actually wanted to bring some so some people could try it, but I accidentally left it home. Just write. I'm only going to put a little bit in the chat.
Yeah, I know.
Just write the website they could go to. Somalie bee. She'll send you a text about anybody that's her friend. No, she'll send a text and that shit say 20,000 things. You're like, what?
I just want to make sure that everything. Here you go.
Okay, I ain't writing all this, sis.
I ain't
even gonna hold you.
I gave you 3 things.
Look, I ain't even gonna hold you.
3 things.
I'm about to write what. If y'all want to follow Somalie.
Huh. Yeah, get dragonfly.net.
Here.
And then 103street.net.
I'm putting it in the chat for y'all. Dragonfly.
I think Nick said you got
it. .net. N-E-T. Okay. So, right there, y'all, you can find Somalie's Dragonfly blend. You can also follow 106th Street.
103, girl.
I mean,
I'm 103.
Girl, because I'm putting like an extra 2% for me. My bad. It's like 103 Street.
.net.
.net. Yeah. You can go follow this 103 Street on Instagram and follow Somalie. Follow Somalie. Follow her stories. She got some great things coming up, and we'll keep in contact. We'll make sure everything gets blasted on. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I know you all probably saying, "Where's my hair?"
No one's saying
my
that.
boo.
Not
No,
one
I'm talking about
person.
my friends, but I'm just
No,
saying.
they weren't.
Joncea hooked me up
I'm
last
like
night.
not nobody, not one person.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Joncea hooked me up last night. Hair straight, got cut, and everything. And thank you for everything.
What?
I thought you retired from the game.
No, she had to. She
No,
had
I
to go into
did.
my.
I
she
did
had
retire
to,
from the
yeah.
game. As friends be making me.
I was gonna say, I know people who do hair often. When they stop doing hair, they stop doing hair.
Like I don't
Yeah, like
like
they don't
to
fuck
do
around.
hair.
Yeah,
and they
that's all I
always,
asked.
can you do some? I was asleep yesterday. Somalie knocked on my door and was like, "Can you do my hair?" I was like, "Girl, like you woke me up to ask some bullshit." Like,
Well,
no, I ain't doing your hair.
But check this out. If you've seen my hair, she literally, we had to get some chemicals up in this joint. So
No, that joint was dry. I fixed it.
yeah,
It was cool.
I feel like okay, so I today, but thank you for that, and thank you for having me on your show, boo. I'm always gonna be here to support you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and to any one of my friends that's on here, you all please make sure you go follow my sister because she's got some great things going on too, and we're elevating and we're making things happen.
Just through Christ, we are moving
Yes.
through His whatever His mission is for us. We're trying to accomplish it. But I'm so glad you're doing good. I'm so glad Jordan's doing good.
Thanks.
I'm glad the kids are great, and I'm just glad that everything's working out, and that God is doing His thing. I'm
Flowing,
glad that
baby.
We're all here. We're all still here. We're all still standing, and we gonna be. We gonna be
all right. Joncea, I thought we was gonna talk a little bit about go-go in DC and all
Nope.
that. Okay,
Nope.
not today.
Not at all.
Not today.
So thank you y'all for tuning in. Not at all. Thank you all for tuning in to the Joncea show. Like I said, follow Somalie, and we will catch you next week. Next week.
Thank y'all.
Nope.
Bye.
So, you want this out? Okay, we cut.